Pattinson is the DCU Batman. Pattinson isn't the DCU Batman. No one knows. Muscietti, who's supposed to be doing Brave and the Bold, he says, nope, he is not the DCU Batman. Do we believe him? Do we think he even knows? I don't know. Lots of rumors that are continuing going on, and some of those rumors are debunked, at least for now. There was a rumor going around, that Will Smith was going to be in The Matrix. Well, apparently the reboot. Apparently that's not going to be the case. There was a rumor that T'Challa was going to be recast. Apparently that's not the case. They're going to make it his son in general. That's the other rumor. So what is true, what is false? Who the hell knows? No more rumors. So let me give you a rumor. Cynthia Erivo is rumored to be in contention to play Storm in the X-Men. So we'll discuss that and other things on the show here today. But before we even do it, everybody is well aware of the devastation that is happening in Los Angeles, where I spent the last 25 years of my life. And I have a lot of friends out there, and mostly everybody on this show, minus me, is coming from Los Angeles. Thank God everybody is safe. I know that Coy and Winston had to evacuate this morning. They are safe, though. Steph and Mike are with us today doing the broadcast from their places, so they are both safe. They are both not evacuated, but we'll discuss kind of what they're doing. So thoughts and prayers. I know it's almost like at this point, I didn't want it to feel like something that's just said. It's something that should legitimately be felt by us, because there's so much going on there, and it's so close to home for me. Obviously, my wife and my sister-in-law last night were on the phone, just kind of going over my wife lived in the Palisades for a year. My sister-in-law used to work there. They were both devastated by all the news, and a very close friend of mine, his entire house burned to the ground. So this is a horrible, horrible situation all the way around. But I'm just glad that he is safe. I'm glad that everybody is safe, and there's really no way around that, and not talk about it, because it's impacting even in the business and some of the stories that we'll talk about here today. But Mike and Steph, they are here with us, so I'm happy that we have them. Let's talk about all this stuff and more. Here we go, and just to put a smile on Steph's face, mustard. Let's get to it. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Kristian Harloff Show. Joining me on the show today, safe, Steph Sabra. Hello, Steph.
Hi.
How you doing?
Good. Yeah, we're very lucky. We're just getting really bad smoke, and the air quality is crazy. We haven't been able to go outside, but we're really lucky because it's so insane over here.
Yeah, I am glad that you're doing okay, and also checked in with this character. He's doing good too. So Mike, how's it over where you are?
I feel bad saying it, but we're not fine, but like even the smoke is not bad.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure. Like yesterday I was working out, but I was like, should I wear a mask? And I started wearing one, but then like you can't even smell smoke where I am. But where I am, because I'm kind of near Warner Brothers on the other side of the valley. I remember someone saying back when we had fires a couple of years ago that the way that the winds are off the hills here, it really is an anti kind of deterrent against fires. They never really get them on this side where I am. So I'm very lucky. But last night they had one pop up in Studio City, which is close to where Shannon works. And that was a kind of like and this was, in almost a residential area. So it was a weird, and there's a lot of talk going around what's going on, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
you guys are okay.
Yeah, I was checking up on everybody, and seeing how everybody was doing, and like I said, Coy and Winston had to evacuate this morning, but they're safe, and
yeah,
and even my friend who his house is gone. The most important thing that wanted to him and his kids and everybody's safe. So that's what I have found out. I mean, there's some people obviously that were not that fortunate, but for the most part, the people that I know are safe. But it's insane. It's insane what's going on right now. So
anyone watching, and if you reached out to me on Twitter, checking me, I thank you. I can't respond on Twitter because I'm blocked for a week. I'm suspended.
Amazing.
Yes.
I told some a-hole to go jump off a bridge.
Oh my God.
And instantly they're like, this does not follow X's thing. I was like, well,
oh, I love that
the people I say it to say it all the time, and they have millions of followers, but I say it and I get I'm on I'm in the corner for a week. So
you know that makes me happy, right?
I've never met someone who's had their account disabled once, and you, my friend, other than you, because you're twice now.
Twice now. And it's
you should wear that like a badge of honor.
The trigger is when I tell someone to jump off a bridge. That's the one.
Yeah, that's it.
That's what happened last time.
Yeah, I think most platforms draw the line at that.
But
you deserve
I'm not going to get into it.
You deserve it. Anyway, so we got some stories to discuss here, guys, on the show today. So last week, the two of you guys defeated Roca and Winston, won the week. Roca was tried to call. Yeah, it was right in the middle of a celebration. Mike froze, but Roca tried to call foul.
Yeah, that was hysterical.
And he and I talked, and it didn't work in his favor. But this week he's got a shot to defeat you guys because him and Dan Merle on Tuesday did 110. So it's a tough one.
Special guest, and it's Dan Merle. Everyone loves Dan.
Well, to be fair to Roca, he also was on Monday, and he did 100 on Monday also. So he did well. He wants to win this week. So
a good combo. Yep.
But we'll see. You guys are already. We haven't even started the show. You're at 9 thus far.
Okay.
And so we got an opportunity to, if everybody wants Mike and Steph to defeat the founding fathers, you bet you can beat the founding fathers again. So
that's right.
Yeah. So all right, let's get into this topic because this story is a story that is not going away. And it, of course, is the story of Willie Woney, Robert Pattinson as the DCU Batman. Is it going to happen? We don't know, right? That's what it seems to be. Like each and every story. It's like some people, like Josh Harwitz, just talked to Matt Reeves, and people are like, oh, no, Reeves is open to it. Gunn said, oh, I'm open to it. Well, it and the Flash filmmaker Andy Muschietti recently appeared on Argentinian radio station Radio TU, where several topics came up. Muscietti has long been attached to direct Batman the Brave and the Bold, the new Batman movie set with James Gunn and Peter Safran's new DC universe, and likely to involve not just the new Batman, but other members of the Bat family. In recent weeks, there's been a surge of talk about Matt Reeves, the Batman films, being potentially retrofit into the new DCU, which would make Robert Pattinson's Batman the new DCU Batman. It's a possibility that previously seemed off the table. In the new interview, Muschietti throws cold water on the idea and says the plan is for his Batman and Reeves' Batman films to be entirely separate things. He says, as everyone knows, the Batman featured in The Brave and the Bold will belong to the new DCU universe. It's quite obvious that Matt Reeves' Batman is not part of this new universe. DC and Warner Brothers are moving forward with the second part of Reeves' Batman series, which, as widely reported, is expected to release around 2027. This means the next Batman movie will take some time before it sees the light of day. Muscietti then spoke about how he's continuing developing on The Brave and the Bold, which will not arrive anytime soon and has been postponed. Releasing two Batman films simultaneously would be counterproductive. What DC is doing is creating a strategy to ensure that these two films don't conflict with each other. Regarding my involvement in the project, there are good intentions for now. They want to do the movie with me, and I want to do it as well. I'm eager to work on the film. We are talking about the story and the tone. Muscietti also proved... Where'd I go? Look at that. So stupid. There I am. Muscietti also proved an update on the film adaptation of the PlayStation video game Shadow of the Colossus, a project that has been in development for a decade. He says it's not an abandoned property, and by any means. He says, I love that film. It's a script that I like a lot. There are factors that have nothing to do with your hobby and desire to make it, but with popular and intellectual property like this. Shadow of the Colossus is a cult game, but to make it a good film, there's a studio that puts the numbers out and how much it is to give the director $200, $150, $100 million, or different versions of the film, and obviously I want them to give me $200 million. But this is another factor to take into account. Okay, so I don't know if you guys feel the same way about this. And Mike, I actually want to start with you here.
Yeah,
this is the way I read it, and I could be reading it wrong.
Okay,
but you hear James Gunn on Josh Harwitz say, "Yeah, you know, I'm open to it. I've considered everything." And then you hear the reports that there's been a lot of conversations that the studio execs kind of want it to be part of the DCU, the Pattinson thing that is. And then you hear Matt Reeves who says like, I don't know, it'd have to make sense and all that. And it seems like that conversations at least have been going on. When you hear Muschietti's comments, it seems like he's not in on any of those conversations. And like, then, he said this thing about how it was postponed, and then James Gunn had said it wasn't. And he's saying it again. I don't think Muschietti has any idea what's going on. So I do think that they're having conversations about Pattinson, and I think that he's not privy to them. I don't think he's going to wind up directing Brave and the Bold. I don't think that Brave and the Bold is going to turn out the way that it was first announced. I think it's going to be a kind of combination of everything, whether we want it or not. But I don't think Muschietti really is in the know on any of this stuff. What do you think?
I don't know, honestly, because when you say the studio, you mean Gunn and then the execs?
I think the executives, like the business, the suits and everything.
Okay, so
first, I think that they wanted it. I think they wanted it, and I think that they brought it to Gunn and Safran, and then they had to start having those conversations. And I think it's more real than Muschietti realizes it is.
I think it is a holdover from a studio of almost 10 years ago where they got themselves into crap where they were like, had a plan, and then they start changing it when things don't work or things are being delayed. Like you look back on 2013, 2014 with BVS, and then into Suicide Squad and the execs that started coming in and changing. Like, let Gunn do his thing. Like he set it up. He said Brave and the Bold. It's going to be two different Batman. It's Elseworlds. It's our Batman. I think what's happening. I think when Muschietti said the thing about it's delaying our film because we don't want them coming out, that to me seems right. Like I think they're trying to knock out Reeves and let him get that script done, and then they're going to figure out where they can place the other film.
I don't think they.
I do not think it's joining. I think Gunn is the guy that is going. This we can't. They won't join. They can't. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I just don't think they have the luxury of pushing back their Batman for that long because Steph.
No, I get it, but
Steph, if Superman hits the way that they wanted to, Supergirl hits the way that they wanted to, people are going to start asking for Batman inside the DCU pretty fast. And if they don't have a DCU Batman until 2028, 2029, it's a problem. What do you make of all this? Of what Muschietti's comments? What do you think is really going on?
I'm not totally sure because there is a lot of back and forth on this specific subject. But if I was privy to information and I just was like dying to get it off my chest, then I think I would release it to a random Argentinian radio show. Like I feel like the fact that is so like you wouldn't think like obviously we should all know if you do anything recorded, it can come out and will come out. But if I'm randomly on an Argentinian radio show, I would be like, who is going to hear this? It's recorded live and we're in Argentina. So it feels like it might be true. Whether or not I think he thinks it's true, whether or not it actually is, I don't know. I'm not sure, but I think that if they do come out with two Batmans at the same time, it would if it's coming off the backs of Superman and Supergirl being highly successful, then the one that would be affected in hurt would be the Reeves one. I don't think this would hurt the DCEU, but I know that they want to keep Matt Reeves happy, as they should.
Right. And Mike, going off of that, I've seen before you got suspended on Twitter, I saw on your tweets that you were saying that maybe they should just let this, because of all the delays, maybe we should just let this thing.
Oh man, the crap I got for that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Like it's amazing to me. People forget, and maybe they're new to Twitter, that I was Mr. DC, like DC shill, this and that. Like I couldn't say anything about DC and like not be torn apart for it. Now these people are like, oh, you hate DC, you're giving up on it. And I was like, I was one of the only people in 2016 defending Batman versus Superman for the entire year. So let's pump the brakes, numbnuts. But and then I added a tweet to that saying, hey, if they're filming 2 and 3 back to back and they do 6 months apart and that wraps up Reeves' Batman universe, that'll work. But like you said, you've got to get a DCU Batman out there. You just do. But then I was watching the trailer again, and like that scene where he's fighting the kaiju Superman, you can't have Pattinson's Nirvana Batman in that world. It doesn't fit. Right. It just does not fit.
I don't disagree with you. I just think that for me, it's less about me wanting it, because I don't really think that I do. I want both worlds, I think, but I just think that there's just so much conversation around this right now that it just seems real that all these conversations are happening, because I saw someone in there, in the comments saying, well, no, James Gunn didn't say that he's thinking about it now. He's saying he's considered at one point. Yeah, I know. But the fact that he's even bringing that up at this point, he didn't knock it down. Yeah.
About Gunn is like, because even to some people have said he needs to stop talking so much. He responds a lot and shoots down rumors all the time.
Right.
I think it'd be helpful
He hasn't shut this down.
He came out right now and said, this is this. We're not doing this. This is this.
But that's my point, Steph. Like that James Gunn has. Thanks. But I'm not talking to you anymore. That's how you transition, Mike. So that's the whole point. What Mike did say, though, that James Gunn usually responds to everything, right?
Yeah.
So if all these reports are out there about Pattinson potentially joining and this and that, the last time I saw him respond was when he said, no, the Batman, Brave and the Bold has not been postponed. And then Muscietti says it again that it has been. So it's like, it seems like they're not on the same page, but James Gunn not responding and not saying, look, we decided he's not part of it. He hasn't made that claim. Don't you think that's a bit telling?
Yeah, I do, just based off of his track record of being very transparent. And there's probably a bit of him that I know he is assessing what people are saying and how they're responding to what could be, and then potentially leaving space for changes or different decisions being made on how people are just responding about it.
Yeah. It's like I said yesterday, and I'll say it again, this is a developing story. It's not going away. But I just feel after those conversations of what Muscietti is saying, that those comments, look, I like Andy Muschietti a lot. I'm actually really looking forward to his prequel series to it. I think that, The Flash, there were moments of The Flash that I thought really worked. There's stuff that scare me that he's doing Brave and the Bold, because he was defending that god awful CGI. Like that was like, it was awful, that CGI. But I like that movie more than most, because I think there are some really good emotional moments in the film, but he's coming off of a loss right now. I don't think he is part of the conversation in general. I think that James Gunn is a pretty loyal person, so I think James Gunn might be fighting for him to stay, where I think there might be people behind the scenes wanting him to go. This is all speculation. This is no inside information. I just feel like that's what could be happening. And even he says in that comment, he's like, they're doing good for me, right now, because almost like he's preparing to get thrown off the project. And I think that is going to happen. I don't think that Andy Muschietti is going to direct this film. I don't think he's being led into conversations of what is happening. I don't think he'll be directing it, even though if he's developing it or not developing it. Maybe I'm wrong, but it just feels like and maybe because I'm just so used to the way Star Wars does things, that this just seems like if this was a Star Wars project, we would all bet and win that he's not going to direct this.
Yeah. Yeah, of course.
Do you think, Mike? Well, Mike, so what do you think? Is he going to direct?
When
this?
Was he offered it? Was it after The Flash or
before it even came out? It was right after Gunn had seen it and was raving about it, and then it was right before it came out. And then
whether you love that movie or not, I enjoy it. The stuff with Affleck's Batman at the beginning, that action sequence, that to me sold me on him directing the film, like because the way that it felt, and it just. A little more real, a little more cartoony and comic bookish. I don't know. I don't know if it's one of those ones where they don't want him anymore because of the failure of The Flash, and they're going to give him something else. And they're like, oh, well, the timing didn't work, so he's got to do this. So we're going to get someone else. I don't know. Well, I think here's the thing.
Yeah.
We talk about, you mentioned Star Wars and just anytime director, this and that, like DC's not in that place yet.
Not yet. No.
They're not they're losing directors, this and that. I think they need to keep going. They need, I forgot who's directing Supergirl, but like that's been going kind of strong. They attached the guy to Sergeant Rock, and that's kind of picking up pace. I think they kind of need to stick to their guns and just like, this is our choice. We're not doing this. This doesn't work. This doesn't work. We're already having problems.
Well, you know why there's not, and so here's a question, I guess, Steph. I'll ask you the same question I asked Mike, whether or not he was going to be on it, but I'll give you a little bit more to work with. He has that prequel to It that's coming out now. If that does well for Max and people love it and people are real, and I don't think he's directing every single one. I don't even know, but if he's part of it and it crushes, he could potentially stay on because this is a "what have you done for me lately" town. But if it doesn't perform and people don't like it, that might be like a kick to the curb right there. What do you think?
Yeah, it's interesting because the public opinion sways and changes so easily. When the first screenings of The Flash came out, people were saying that I heard multiple people say it was the best comic book movie that they've ever seen. Mm-hmm. And then the second wave came in and people were like, it's good. And then there was a group that were like, I really didn't like a lot of this, but I don't think it was bad.
Don't forget wave 4. It's stonks.
It's stonks. Yeah. Well, that was a late wave. And I don't think I really enjoyed the film. It's not perfect. It's not in my, top 10 of superhero movies, but it's good. And it was fun. And there was a lot of good aspects to it. So I'm like, I don't think this is the same way I would view, I don't know, whoever okayed Madam Web ADR. Like, I don't think this was like an unbelievable mistake where you're like, obviously the guy's a good filmmaker. It's just not, he hasn't made something that's like perfect to people. But I did love the movies too.
Yeah.
So I think that he probably won't end up staying on. It makes you think about how when Gunn and Safran were like, go like excommunicado in the network with all of the previous projects, and with the exception of like Supergirl, which I'm like, I mean Batgirl, I just feel like that one was they should have just released it. But it makes you understand why they wanted to cut ties with everything that was, because it does make it like this Batman situation has been the talk of the town when we should just be focusing on the new projects, but now we're trying to like finagle it in.
I know. So, and there has been, and we've talked about this many times over, there hasn't been any confirmation that this is exactly what they're trying to do with Pattinson, and the conversations potentially have happened. Reeves just said, like, we'll see if it makes sense, and same type of thing. So it's not like they said, hey, we're figuring it out, we're going to let you know, we'll come into a decision, but it's just kind of speculated. So we'll see. Go ahead, Mike.
I also hope and kind of feel, there we go. Maybe this is the case, and maybe we'd always said, and I said it, many people said it, like DC needed their Feige, and they have it now. And Feige on every single film is there. So Gunn, even though maybe Muschietti people might be still sour on him from The Flash, like if Gunn's there by his side the whole time with this film, I think I much more stand a chance to be successful, because I think he's a good filmmaker. The first It and I enjoy so much of The Flash that works.
Yeah.
So
there's a lot of, look, the emotional moments in that movie do hit. I don't like the beginning, the baby scene, some of the CGI, a lot of the CGI is pretty bad. And the ending.
Yeah, but that's not him.
Well, I thought the ending was a letdown, and it was him. He chose, if you're directing, and so I saw someone say that in the comments too, it's not Muschietti's fault. It is. If you're directing it and you look at the cut and you go, ooh, it doesn't look good, you say, I want to cut that out. And you take it out.
Or, hey, this doesn't look good. We have no money. That's not him. He's like,
oh, I'm glad you brought that up, by the way.
I got to go with what I got.
Now, there was a comment that was made that I didn't like. And this is not his fault. This is all the director's faults, and everybody. He's like, oh, I want them to give me a $200 million. You don't need $200 million. You don't need it.
Oh, it's when Muscietti said that.
He said it at the end. You don't need $200 million. You don't. You should try to make a movie for, those big budget, huge movies, you should make them for 110, 120. Look at Kong, Gods and Monsters, whatever it was. Didn't you just say you watched that, Steph?
Yeah, so fun.
That movie was made for $110 million or whatever it was, and it made a shit ton of money. If it would have cost $300, it would have lost money. So it's like that. I can't stand that shit when they're like, oh, I want $200 million. No, you don't need it. And these directors are spoiled by everybody getting $200 million. It's so stupid. Anyway, what do you guys think about all of this that's been laid out? Do you think that Muschietti will wind up being the director of Brave and the Bold? Do you think they'll come out around the same time? Do you think Pattinson will wind up being the DCU Batman? Where do you think this goes? And this is one of the messy stories already so far inside the DCU. I'm very curious what you think. We mentioned in the top of the intro, and we talked about it with the things going on with Los Angeles right now. There's a lot of delays and other things that are happening, and one of those is that we know that the Critics' Choice Awards has been pushed back, and now the Oscar nominations are also delayed, rightfully so. The announcement of the Oscar nominations has been delayed to now January 19th, and the deadline for Oscar nomination voting has been extended 2 days due to the fires currently ravaging Southern California. Voting for the nearly 10,000 Academy members opened on January 8th and was originally set to close on January 12th. The closure will now happen on January 14th. The nominations announcement, originally scheduled to be announced on Friday, January 17th, has moved to January 19th. The delay comes as more than 1,000 houses, businesses, and other buildings have been destroyed in the fires across the Los Angeles region, with fires burning and evacuations in the area around Pacific Palisades, Santa Clarita, and Pasadena. Some of homes of actors like Adam Brody, Anna Faris, James Woods, Diane Warren have been lost in the blaze thus far. The fires have impacted multiple events. Premieres for films like The Wolfman, The Pit, Unstoppable have been canceled. Production on shows like Fallout, Hacks, Suits, LA have been paused. And the Critics' Choice Awards, originally stacked for this coming Sunday, have been postponed. Conan O'Brien will host the 2025 Oscar ceremony, which is scheduled to take place on March 2nd. I don't think anybody on this panel is going to say, oh my God, why are they moving this? I think everybody realizes this is exactly the move that they need to be making. Yeah. And I also don't think, Mike, I know you're about to speak, but I think that was wrong because I'm going to call on Steph first. Steph, I think that, one of the things that is also, I think that, almost similar to what we say about sometimes when these studios make announcements of, well, this January 19th, that's when this is coming. You don't know if you're going to have to cancel this again. You don't know if you're going to have to reschedule. You don't know. I mean, a lot of these, and you guys probably have more of an update on this than I do, but how contained are the fires right now?
Isn't the main one still at like 0%?
Right.
I'm looking right over near, I can get a good look of Hollywood Hills right from my window right here. And there's no smoke coming from that side. The one that was like, I think Coy and Winston's area. I could be completely wrong, but I don't see the helicopters that I saw. Because last night there was the update that the winds were died down enough that the helicopters could come in and drop the water. And I saw one water drop that like knocked out this entire area. So that was like a real good sign last night.
Well, Christopher Carrillo just read they're not contained. Only one out of the 5 is contained. So that
that could be the one.
But Steph, that's kind of my point, right? Is that like, let's not put together dates yet. Let's just say that postpone until we have some more information on what's going on, because you might have to just move this again. Same thing with the Critics' Choice Awards and everything else too. You don't have a guarantee of what's happening right now.
Right. They just might as well hopefully, in a few days things will really clear up, and that's usually how fire patterns work, but we just don't know. So why would you pick a specific date and you have no idea like what will be needed infrastructure wise to make sure that you can still do the show and have it be or make any changes you need to. So that makes a lot of sense. And I think that probably one of the good things about the pandemic is like most networks and programs and businesses are ready and able to kind of make changes when they're no longer allowed to do those things. So I feel like back in the day, it's like you didn't really hear as many changes or course corrections as they do now, but it's like the Emmys just had to have like 2 in 1 year. Like they're able to make changes that work.
Yeah, I just Mike, same thing though. I mean, I just think that announcing this early without containment of the fire is probably risky. I don't know how you feel about it.
I don't know. I mean, like Universal, I got a call yesterday morning before I was coming in, like, hey, we're closed, and they're doing it day by day. So they're not saying like we're open tomorrow. So we got a call last night that today was closed. So they're doing it day by day. They're not doing anything more than that. I don't know. But you also have to I don't know.
Yeah,
you have to let people know and kind of plan, especially for something like that. Like,
all
right, we're going to shoot for this date.
I know it's tough. I mean, I was going to fly out for the Critics' Choice Awards this year. I didn't wind up doing it, but like, I was thinking about people who you probably have to, change your flights and change everything else too to make sure that I don't know how it works out. But either way, Yeah, so I'm sure we're going to hear more about this as we have not contained any of these things really, except one out of the rest of them. So I don't know. What do you guys think out there? Do you think that they should wait before they start saying, "Hey, this is when we're coming back. This is when we can do this, do that"? Do you think they should wait and figure out what this scenario is before they do it? Put your comments in there. Let us know. All right, before we move on, we have a lot of other stories, a lot of rumors out there. I wanted to let you guys know about two of our wonderful sponsors I've been telling you about this week. And I got somebody again yesterday on Instagram DM me and said that they tried one of our sponsors, and that helps out the show. That'll keep us going. So let me tell you about both of them right now. And let's talk about it. I've talked to you guys before in the past about Robinhood. You guys know, you've heard me discuss. Well, I'm going to discuss with you once again. With Robinhood Gold, you can now enjoy the VIP treatment, receiving a 3% IRA match on retirement contributions. The privileges of the very privileged are no longer exclusive. With Robinhood Gold, your annual IRA contributions are boosted by 3%. Plus, you also get 4% APY on your cash-in non-retirement accounts. It's over 8 times the national savings average. The perks of the high net worth are now available for any net worth. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. Now, to receive your 3% boost on annual IRA contribution, sign up at Robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk. 3% match requires Robinhood Gold at $5 a month for 1 year. First match must keep funds in IRA for 5 years. You got to go to Robinhood.com/boost. Over 8 times the national average savings account interest rates claim is based on the data from the FDIC as of November 18th, 2024. Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold LLC. So thank you to Robinhood here for joining us on the show. Very happy to have them back. And I also want to tell you guys, we have a brand new sponsor that I'm so excited to discuss with you guys about, because I had gotten the product last week. And I was like, oh God, when can I talk to you guys about this? Well, the time is now. The time is now, and that is Prolon. If you guys aren't aware already, well, I'm going to make you aware now. Prolon is absolutely great. They have this January fasting challenge, which is pretty wonderful. If you're starting the year with a fast, it feels a little daunting. I know. You're not alone. There's an entire community of individuals wanting to make a meaningful difference in their health, just like you. And this is what makes group fasting so powerful, and why I am joining in on Prolon's January fasting challenge. It is a coach-led program to set you up for fasting success. I wanted to try to do something like this, and now I figured out a way to do it. Prolon's fasting mimicking diet is revolutionary. It's a plant-based nutrition program that nourishes the body while making cells believe they're fasting. Researched and developed for decades at USC's Longevity Institute and backed by leading U.S. medical centers, Prolon helps promote healthy blood sugar, enhanced skin appearance, fat loss, and improved energy and focus. It all starts with their 5-day program. Snacks, soups, beverages designed to keep your body in a fasting state. No guesswork or planning required, which is a relief after a busy holiday. Got to stay motivated during the challenge with guidance from top longevity and nutrition coaches, providing the tools you need to successfully complete your fast. I cannot tell you, when they told me about this, this is something I always wanted to try, and I'm so pumped to finally get this going. So if you're ready to make 2025 your healthiest year yet, order your Prolon 5-day kit at prolonlife.com/bigthing. Join in on their fasting challenge today. New groups start every Sunday in January. Plus, Prolon is offering the Big Thing listeners 15% off their 5-day nutrition program for your post-holiday glow-up when you go to prolonlife.com/bigthing. Once again, prolonlife.com/bigthing. All right, thank you to both Prolon and to Robinhood. Really appreciate it. The links are in the description. PLD, if you are watching right now, I hope, or either Luke, please put those links in the description if they're not in there already, so our wonderful audience can get them. Okay, so we got another one here today. Steph, I got to tell you, last night I told my daughter as I woke her up this morning for school, I said, I got to thank you. And I was being sarcastic. It's like, because when I'm walking to in the middle of the night, I wake up and the Wicked soundtrack is just playing in my head over and over and over again. It just they play it. The little one plays it in the car. The older one plays it in the car. It's in repeat. So the movie's on. So I am seeing a lot of Cynthia Erivo and hearing a lot of Cynthia Erivo in my house. And now a lot of people might see her in the MCU if this rumor is, well, it's not even necessarily a rumor that they're going to cast her yet, but she wants to play the role. And that is, of course, Storm in the MCU X-Men. So here is the story, comic book movie. There's a rumor going around that Marvel Studios has met with Cynthia Erivo about possibly suiting up as Storm in the upcoming X-Men reboot, and the Wicked star definitely sounds interested. There's a rumor doing the rounds online that Marvel Studios has met with Cynthia Erivo about potentially playing Storm in the long-awaited X-Men reboot, and whether there's any truth to it or not, the Wicked star seems interested in suiting up. Erivo was asked if there's a dream role she'd like to manifest while being interviewed by the National Board of Review. She said, "I really want to play Storm. I know it sounds frivolous, but I think we haven't uncovered how grand she is and all the inner turmoil that she has, so I think there's a world where we could do something like that." While Erivo would be a huge get for Marvel Studios after her star-making turn in Wicked, we have heard that the studio is looking for actors in their early to mid-20s age range to play the MCU's Children of the Atom, which would follow if Stranger Things alum Sadie Sink is indeed up for the role of Jean Grey. Though Marvel does finally appear to be making progress on the elusive X-Men movie, official updates have been few and far between. All we know for sure is that Michael Leslie is currently working on the script and that a director is being sought. Okay, so let's start with Steph on this one because I think I know the answer. But how would you feel about Cynthia Erivo playing Storm, and is she the right choice?
She clearly can do anything. That woman is very spectacular to me. I am a massive fan, and I think she deserves it. I can't wait for her to be an EGOT. I think she doesn't like scream Storm to me, but I haven't read like every Storm comic. I'm not like a, I don't have like a huge. There's not a responsibility that needs to be given to me. She's like a very cool character. I understand if I could I don't know anyone who wouldn't want to play Storm. She's like the sexiest, most badass character. But I think if the director thought she was the best for that role, that'd be great. I'm like all for that, as opposed to I don't love like the idea like just because she's was so iconic as Alphaba means that she should get every role. I think if she auditioned and it really fit, then I'd be super excited for it. One thing that I think of, I don't really care about physical appearance being perfect. Like obviously we see that with Wolverine and other characters, it doesn't really matter. But when I think of Storm, I think of like a stallion of a woman, like someone who's like way taller, more muscular than me.
Cynthia Erivo's a little.
She's 5'1".
Yeah.
So that would be like you'd have to do something to make me think you could kick my ass.
Yeah. Mike, what do you think?
I don't know. I mean, I didn't realize she was 5'1". That's something.
She's little.
A tiny little.
Her and Ariana are like little munchkins.
Yeah.
Yeah, but when I'm watching her on screen, it doesn't seem like it. But I don't know. I don't know.
Oh, let me help you out. I don't think she's right for it.
Okay.
I think that I think she's a very good singer. I think that from what I said, I mean, and look, this isn't saying a lot, but she was the best thing about that Pinocchio reboot. I'll tell you that. And that thing was terrible, but she was the best part of it. And I think she's really good in Wicked. I said this, and most people disagree with me, but I think Ariana Grande was the standout in that movie for sure. Cynthia Erivo's voice is outstanding. I mean, it's outstanding. Her musical, I think her acting was good. I don't think it was like great. I think it was good. And I think that she, of course, will. I think she will get cast in this role, by the way. I think because that's what studios do in general. They go after who's hot in the moment, not necessarily who's right for it. I don't really think that she doesn't scream Storm to me. However, she said having a passion for the role and having an idea of who the character is, you can win me over in a heartbeat if the performance is there. And I don't care if you're 5'1". I mean, look, I don't disagree.
Right.
I don't disagree with you, Steph, that, she doesn't scream that kind of physicality that Storm has, but we could all be sitting there and going, whoa, who knew that performance was gonna be the epitome of what we wanted Storm to be? It's possible. I just don't, the first choice, I don't think she's the first choice for me. I think there's other actors out there that are probably better for the role, but we'll see.
Yeah, I would hope that they do. I love hearing John M. Chu talking about the casting process and how they wanted to cast lesser known, just like true theater actors to fill the role and to actually be able to fulfill the singing that was needed. And Ariana Grande, like, she's grown up with Kristen Chenoweth, so you would think that she just had an automatic shoe in, but he was really almost opposed to her because she's so famous and enigmatic, and it would be hard to separate her from the role. But she auditioned for weeks, and he said that she was consistently the most interesting person in the room.
Yeah.
So if she does that, then that's cool. I like when a director really is focusing on who's being the best for the role.
That's all you can ask for inside of that. It's like, but when we were going through casting choices when all the Superman stuff was going on, right? And they had these different ideas for who Lex was going to look. I love Nicholas Hoult. I never thought he was right for Superman at all. I never thought he was right for Superman. I was like, oh, we're hoping it was Lex, and then he got Lex, right? So there's sometimes that character that certain actors just don't seem the role to us when it's first brought up. And like I said, and I don't necessarily know if I would have been like, oh yeah, I could see Heath Ledger as the Joker. Oh yeah, right. I could see that. I would be like that the guy from the Night movie. Didn't he just play Bob Dylan or something? He's going to be the Joker. All right, let's see how that goes. And look at it now. He's the gold standard. So who knows? This is my first instinct is I don't necessarily know, but I think that it goes to what you were saying, Steph. I just physically I don't see it. But we'll see. Look, there's going to be a debate on it. She's beloved right now. That movie is beloved. It's a great movie. It's a really good movie, Wicked. And I think that, and then part 2 will come out. It's going to be even bigger than the first one. She's going to be as hotter now than she is today. I think it'll happen. I think they're going to wind up casting her. I just don't know if that's necessarily the way to go. But hey, we shall see, as they say in some parts of town. Okay, so the next thing is, this is one of the rumors that we talked about on the show the other day, and that was like Will Smith was going to be in the new reboot of The Matrix. Well, looks like one of those rumors that we talked about is getting shot down, and that, of course, is this one. And that is that it appears that Will Smith isn't being lined up to play Neo in the upcoming reboot. And this one is from the Gazette. It says, yesterday there was a speculation that Will Smith might have joined Drew Goddard's reboot of The Matrix, but 2 reliable sources have now debunked that possibility. It's coming up to a year since we first learned the plans for Drew Goddard to write and direct a new Matrix movie. Rumors of a reboot spinoff have persisted for years. A prequel starring Michael B. Jordan as a young Morpheus never came to fruition, but this effort remains shrouded in secrecy. Goddard, best known for writing The Martian and directing Cabin in the Woods, he also worked on Daredevil and Sony Pictures' unmade Sinister Six, will have a helping hand from franchise co-creator Lana Wachowski, who has boarded the project as an executive producer. Yesterday, Will Smith shared a cryptic Instagram post addressing his now infamous decision to pass on the role of Neo in 1999's The Matrix to instead star in The Wild Wild West. The Oscar-winning shared a brief video with a Matrix-style message reading, in 1997, the Wachowskis offered Will Smith the role of Neo in The Matrix. Smith turned it down. He chose Wild Wild West, believing it was a better fit for him at the time, but the question remains, what would The Matrix have been like with Will Smith as Neo? He concluded by saying, "Wake up, Will, The Matrix has you." Unfortunately, it doesn't appear if Smith was teasing a role in Goddard's movie after all. According to Variety, knowledgeable sources confirmed to Variety that Smith, at least at this point, isn't involved in the film franchise. The Hollywood Reporter also chimed in with, Will Smith will not be joining Warner Brothers and director Drew Goddard in a new Matrix movie, for the studio insiders tell us. So, what exactly was Smith teasing, if not a new movie? There's now a widespread belief that it has something to do with his plans to drop a music album for the first time since 2005's Lost and Found. It's also worth pointing out that the Super Bowl is fast approaching, and Smith could end up playing Neo in a commercial for any number of brands. The Matrix was released in 1999. Yeah. Okay. So, you hear this. This is one of those things that, look, it would have been cool because I think it was, like a complete full circle moment if they would have brought him in because he was supposed to play Neo, and now showing up in the Drew Goddard moment, it would have been interesting to have. I don't think this is a make or break casting for The Matrix to survive. So would have been fun to have him in it. If they don't, who you got next? What do you think, Mike?
I didn't even know that they were making a reboot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You're not the best color. You're not the best color commentator in the business for nothing.
That's what they say. I don't know, man. Because what was the last one called?
Yeah, the last one was the farts, but this one has Drew.
Right. So I'm just kind of like.
But this is Drew Goddard, and not
I know.
So.
Yeah, I know.
You don't.
I don't know, man. To me, the Matrix is the law of diminishing returns. They just went like that first one. Watching that in the movie theater, like you didn't even know what you're watching. Like the bullet time and all that. It has to be something really, really unique and different to make me even want to care about it. So who's starring in it? I don't care.
You don't care. Steph,
how's that for you?
It's so good. It makes me sad. Steph? What do you think?
For who I would want to star in it, or the story?
The story in general.
Okay, story. I as soon as I saw it, I was like, this is fake. This is all cap. I don't believe this. And relax. I thought it would have been really weird. It wouldn't have been too weird, but I was like, that's interesting because Jada Smith was obviously a part of Matrix, and now you're a part of it. And I don't know where their relationship is, but that felt like it was very connected one way or the other, which I just was like, I just think this is a little too, there's too much going on here for it to be real. So it doesn't, to me, it's not like I think I love Matrix. I actually like all the movies. The first one's the best, but I do like all the movies, and I don't really think like, oh, Matrix Will Smith. So I'm totally okay with that. One person I think that would be like, I would just be excited to see this actor anywhere, but I think he would really fit into a movie like Matrix is David Johnson from Alien Romulus. He was the AI guy.
Yeah,
he was so cool. He was like the coolest AI interpretation I've ever seen.
I think that guy's a star.
Yeah.
But he doesn't have the clout yet. He's a star. There's no doubt about it. But I think someone in the comments section said that, what Will Smith would have brought to this was hype, right? He would have brought people talking about it. David Johnson is great, but he's not getting people hyped up about the movie that, he's going to elevate it when you see it. He's going to, I'd like to see him have a role in it. I just don't think you can put the movie on his back the way that you can put it on Will Smith's back.
You think Matrix as a franchise needs a big star attached to it still?
Right now? Yeah, now they do.
You think so? Okay.
They didn't, but right now, I think one star. It doesn't need to be overpowered with stars, but it needs to have one. It needs to have somebody of in star power to go, oh, okay, so and so is in a Matrix movie. Someone that we recognize is in a Matrix movie. Because if it's just like we're doing a new Matrix with somebody else. I mean, even the first Matrix. I mean, Keanu Reeves always had that. He had like those lulls, and then he came back with a banger, and it's like, oh, it's Keanu Reeves. He's back again. It's what he always does. It's just his whole career. But he was still a big name, when he did that movie. So I think they need a big name. I don't necessarily know, and this doesn't mean that Will Smith is still out of the running. This is another thing that people do sometimes, that maybe because the hype was around him going, yeah, we'd like to see him in it, that maybe they do go after Will Smith now. That's possible. Yeah. So, but I think that more than likely he won't be in it, but they'll get a big star for sure. And people want to work with Drew Goddard. So that's the only reason, I'll tell you right now, that I'm excited about it. And I've been on this side of the conversation with Mike before, and Mike actually came out of the right in the conversation last time, because the last time we had a conversation like this, I said, well, there's a different director this time around, man. That's James Mangold. He's like, yeah, but I think Indiana Jones is just shot. And I said, I'm telling you, man, it's James Mangold. We could have a hit on our hands. And I was convinced, bless you, I was convinced that James Mangold was going to take this thing to the finish line. And it was subpar, and it lost a lot of money, and it didn't do very well. But I think Drew Goddard could get this thing back on track. I really do. And I think that it needs some fresh eyes on it. And we'll see. So I'm curious of what you guys think about it. Do they need a big star? Is Steph right? Maybe the Matrix doesn't need a big star. What say you? Put your thoughts in there. let me know. Speaking of Steph, she's the only one watching this show on this panel, and that's the Skeleton Crew. That show's still happening, and she watched it, right?
Yes.
People, I get more text about this show. Somebody on Twitter tagged me and said, "Hey, how come you're not talking about that show weekly?" And I said, "I have so many other things that I have to get to." But people like this show.
Yeah, it's really fun, and I really thought about that. I was like, I am consistently coming back to it week after week, and I don't technically have to. I know it's helpful for this panel because I'm the only one watching it, but it's not like you're like, please watch it. So I do think that says something. I think I like it more than I even realized. So I do think it's super fun. It's not like insane amazing, but it's really fun, and it's like a good nice watch to end the night with. So I'm liking it.
The only reason I might start getting into it, maybe even the weekend, is because my oldest expressed interest in it, and she's like, at first it was funny, I talked about this yesterday, I said, hey, because she saw somebody made some comment about me watching whatever too, and she's like, I'll watch it with you, Dad. And I was like, I don't necessarily need to watch it. I said, you want to watch it? She's like, yeah, there's kids in it. I'll watch it. And I said, it's Star Wars. She's like, oh, I don't think I want to watch it.
Oh, no.
And then I go, and then she stopped herself. She's like, you know what? If it's Star Wars with kids, then maybe I do want to watch it. So I'll watch it with you. And so then I don't know what happened. We didn't wind up watching it. But if she wants to watch it with me, I feel it's more geared towards kids anyway. So I'll watch it with
and then her. I think you'd really like it because it is fun.
Yeah.
It is fun. I'm really enjoying it. The acting is great. The story is fun and it's unique.
Yeah, again, I watched the first two, thought it was fine, but like I just haven't had I still want to finish Dune before I finish that. I want to finish Tulsa King before I finish that. I want to finish. There's so many other shows I want to finish before that. But like I said, it's something to watch with my kids, and maybe I'll do that then. Anyway, so I know that a lot of you guys have been loving Skeleton Crew. I mean, I've seen some people that are watching it. I don't know how it's doing on ratings. I have no idea how it's doing on ratings, but people who are watching it really dig it. And I'm sure that I'm going to say the same thing after I see it. Whenever I do that, it was an adventure thing, and I'm glad I watched it with my kid. But we'll see. I don't know. I think there was another rumor yesterday. You hear the Black Panther thing, guys?
I did, yeah.
So, Steph, did you hear what happened was going on yesterday?
No.
So basically, the rumor was that that T'Challa was going to be recast because there was talk about that for a while. And when Black Panther 2 came out, it's like, I don't necessarily think you can do that. It was too close to the passing of Chadwick. And so then there was like, well, there's enough time that maybe it is the time that you can actually recast now. And the rumor was basically because you're working in the multiverse, you can do a variant, and you could probably find a good way to do that. And that's what it looked like it was going to happen. Well, there's another rumor that just came out, and this one says that the rumor claims that T'Challa won't be recast and that Marvel's looking for an actor to play his son. That's the new rumor. So take what you want out of this one. Here's the next one. Get out of here, sleeping lady. So following the rumor that Marvel Studios is planning to cast another actor in the role of T'Challa, we have a possible update which suggests that it won't be the same character. Mark Cassidy writes, earlier today, we reported on a rumor that Marvel Studios might be planning to introduce a new take on T'Challa to the MCU. It was generally assumed that Kevin Feige and company were searching for a new actor to play a variant of the same character the late Chadwick Boseman portrayed, but this may not be the case. According to My Time to Shine Hello, the studio is actually in the process of casting an actor for the role of Black Panther's son, who's also named T'Challa, who was introduced at the end of Wakanda Forever. The studio is said to have met with a few actors already, and one would be sure to piss people off if he landed the part. That's smart. The 2022 sequel concluded with Shuri meeting her nephew, the son T'Challa, with Nakia. The original plan seemed to be for the lad to succeed his late father by taking up the mantle of Black Panther and possibly even ruling Wakanda as king. Of course, only a few years have passed in the MCU, so if it is T'Challa's son, who is set to be reintroduced. We can only assume that's going to be an older multiverse variant unless a significant time jump is planned. It's not clear if T'Challa would debut in one of the upcoming Avengers movies, but providing the rumor is on the level, is expected to feature in Black Panther 3. Okay, so then that's just, it goes more into Ryan Coogler wanting to stay on to the thing. So, first of all, Mike, do you think that they should recast T'Challa, or do you think going with the son is the way to go?
I'm torn on this. I really am. Anytime it comes up, I know I don't know why there's such a. I can't say that. That'd be that's a stupid thing to say. Where I was like, I don't understand the relevance of like why it's got to be T'Challa and why not just make the next evolution. Whereas Black Panther is a legacy role where it goes from his father, T'Chaka, to him to be others, whoever fights for and wins the role. So there's a built-in system in the MCU and in the comics that allows there to be a new Black Panther without being. Give it, Steph. Take it over for right now.
Good stuff.
Yeah, I hear what Mike's saying, the built-in system in place, and that's why it's like they're kind of at this hard place in the fact that we did lose such a beloved person and actor. I think that there's like just such an added gravity and layer to the decision-making process, and that movie being as massive as it was, and people just love, including myself, love it and love the character. So it's like massive shoes to fill. I would get this. I understand the stress as well. I think it makes sense to have his son take over the role, but I think, I mean, they're in a good position now within the MCU where it feels like they have these next line of movies coming up. So maybe by the time that we do get that, like there would have been enough time, I don't know, to have like a 15, 16-year-old, like a Peter Parker type Black Panther, like really young, trying to train and get into the role. But I don't know exactly how they would execute a time jump. That does make me a little apprehensive, but I get where they're coming from.
Well, I mean, I think that when you have the same thing, if you were going to recast T'Challa, you could play with a multiverse version of it. It's like, okay, so when a new Black Panther is introduced, they say his name is T'Challa. Is like, well, I'm the son of T'Challa, and it's years later. You can because they've messed with time and played with time, they can explain it. The question is, I think either way could work. It just depends on how it's executed. It really does, and it depends on who you get. The idea of why would you? I think right now Marvel needs safe casting, though, meaning like cast someone that you know. And what I mean by safe casting is if you know that the audience loves them, if you know that they're beloved, they're good actors, and you know that it's not going to be an issue. They don't need controversial casting right now. Now I don't know who it is or whatever, but they said it's sure to piss people off. Why would you even consider somebody like that right now? It's like it should be on the look. Person's a really good actor, but it's just going to cause too much of a PR nightmare. That's got to be a consideration for some of these properties right now, because especially when you're on a decline. When you're not on a decline, you take shots. When you're on a decline, box office wise, and I don't know who they're talking about, so it's hard to say. But I'm just saying, like when you hear the report of, but it's sure to piss people off. Why would you want to do that right now?
Yeah, I wonder who they're even talking about.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Jonathan Majors.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
I was thinking about that for a second as you guys were talking. Like, let's say they were doing, Captain America movie and Chris Evans had passed.
Right.
I would not want another actor in this role of Steve Rogers. I would want them to go, okay, we've got Bucky Barnes, we've got Sam Wilson, transition to those guys. So these people, and I get it, there's an attachment to T'Challa that in comics and people growing up in that character, it's important to them. But Steve Rogers was important to me growing up. And I wouldn't want the role to continue. I'd want a different actor playing a different character.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's another, as I said about the Batman story, this is a story that is developing. It's a story that it's either going to be one of those two things. It seems like. I think that if there's that many rumors around it, one of those two things are true. So I ask you guys, what do you think? Do you think they should recast? Do you think that this is okay? Depends on how it's executed in general. What say you? Okay, guys, good news for you thus far.
Yeah.
Starting into the questions. 47 as we start.
Okay.
Dan and Roca were at around 37 or something when we went into that round.
We got this.
We got this.
So in order to take out Dan and Roca, you got to get to 110 here today. You beat Roca last week. Can you do it again? Can you piss him off in the text exchange?
Oh my God.
Let's see.
That's why I just go silent.
PLT is about to donate his entire salary today. All right, here is the first one, and that is Roman Fedorak, who always starts us off. At least it seems like it. Hey, all, Mike and Steph, I hope you're staying safe.
Thank you.
Very nice.
Thanks, bud.
He follows it up. What film scenes always make you laugh? I'll tell you one that made me laugh out loud was one that it just brings me back to memory. There's a scene in Encino Man. I don't know why it gets me so much, but it really does, where they're at this amusement park and all three of them go after the mascot and they shake his head and move him to the right. And it just, the first time I ever saw it killed me, and it brings me back to that moment. So that's just the first one that pops up in my head, but there's a lot of other ones.
The one that's popping into my head right now is when I forget which Austin Powers it is, but when he is, I think there's like multiple things happening at once. One of them like brewed up Fat Bastard's poop, and Austin was pouring it as coffee. And at the same time, someone came in with a mole, and he would not stop. Holy moly, stop focusing on the mole. And I just think it's the dumbest, funniest scene ever.
Yeah,
it's a bit nutty.
Yeah, it's like disgusting.
Well, the other one, speaking of Austin Powers, I'll tell you a scene that gets me every time is the cameo heavy Tom Cruise, Danny DeVito moment when Danny DeVito's playing Mini-Me and they pan over him and he goes, "Hey, asshole!" It's the best. It's the best.
Yeah,
so there's
and
a lot of them.
Also that Top Gun guy in
the Top Gun guy
in Tropic Thunder.
Yeah,
that made me like him so much more.
The Top Gun guy.
Yeah.
So good.
Mike, the sausage fingers.
Mike, you got one?
Yeah, the stairwell scene in Wedding Crashers, where he just came down from the brother trying to get him, and he talks about the mother showing him her cans. He's like, "You motorboat, son of a bitch, you old sailor, you."
So good. Erroneous on all accounts.
That in the when they're in the chapel scene, he's like, "Well, the so and so with the hat I fucked the shit out of me."
Yeah.
But I can't. I'm a coxman. That whole that movie, man.
It is.
That movie is so funny.
So up your alley. Ewok. I'm more optimistic about Mangold's Dawn of the Jedi after learning it'll be written by Bo Willimon, who worked with Gilroy on Andor. Willimon wrote the episodes with Andy Serkis set in the prison. I mean, I'm pretty hyped for that movie in the same way that I was before. And the question is, how much involvement, will Filoni have in it? How much will Kennedy kind of push them into a direction, or will they be able to do what Gilroy did and do their own thing and really write it and just make the movie they want to make? They do live in a era that's 25,000 years before anything is connected, so they really can play and set up a bunch of things. But I don't know. Mike, you're talking to Force Ghosts over there. What do you think?
It's Star Wars right now, and the current state of Star Wars has me going. I don't know, man. It's interesting. We haven't heard anything in the movie.
Well, Dawn of the Jedi has been getting a little bit more, I guess, because James Mangold is out there now promoting Complete Unknown, so he's been asked about it a lot on the press circuit. But Steph, you hear these comments about that he's been making, and you get the writer here with Bo, and the fact that he worked on Andor. We're all big fans of Andor. Is this promising to you?
Yeah, I think that there's some hope in here for sure. Like, I don't see it and be like, the only thing I'm more apprehensive about is if it actually will happen, not necessarily the ability for these two to execute something great. I think definitely. I just am like, is this gonna?
Right, because you've just been burnt too many times. I
have no idea what their direction is.
Totally understand. Mike Joyce, new trailer for Jason Statham action movie. That's fun. I mean, The Beekeeper was
so fun.
So good. Speaking of it, I hope it's on par with The Beekeeper.
That movie was so fun.
It was such a great. Dan brought it up the other day. It was such a great guilty pleasure movie.
Yeah.
Haskell, what's up, buddy? Hey, gang. Welcome back, Mike and Steph. Glad you're okay. Kristian, I just announced one night on Billy Joel and Rod Stewart at Yankee Stadium, July 18th. Tickets on sale tomorrow. That's fun. I don't know if I'll be able to make that one, but that's a great concert. Rod, I took that's one of the first. It was the first concert that my daughter ever went to. Was at the Hollywood Bowl. We took her to see Rod Stewart. She was really little. She fell asleep. Buster Barnes. I won't be angry if they merge Pattinson, but I just think any way they try to do it will be messy. I guess the Reeves movie would be in the past. I mean, yeah, it would have to be in the past, right? Because you'd have to make him older. It is messy. There's no doubt about it. It is messy. But the other one, Mike, do you watch 1922? Or is it 1923? I forget the name of it.
Is that
the Harrison Ford
Yellowstone kind of spinoff?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's really good. But Brendan Sklenar, who is in that show, I remember the first time I had ever seen him was in that show, and I remember turning to my wife going, "This guy is going to be a massive star. This guy is great." And now he popped up. He was in that Blake Lively movie that's getting all the controversy, but he's not part of the controversy, but he was in that, and he was really good in that. But he's been rumored, and he's actually asked about it to play Batman. I'd like to see him.
I think that's
Batman.
the guy.
That's cool.
It might have been last week we were talking about it, where people are doing a lot of fan art with him.
Yeah.
And I was like, I didn't know who he was, but I'm like, he looks really good.
He's great.
And again, I don't want to go off of just how he looks in a fan art thing, but I kind of looked up his other work, and I was just like, oh, this guy could do it.
Yeah.
Brandon Sklenar.
Yeah.
Sklenar.
It's great. It's great.
Yeah.
Galaghost, stay safe out there, my friends. Thank you, Andres. Really appreciate that. And
Thank you.
Thanks.
For everybody who's been checking up on everybody, really, really appreciate the love. Jim 1, it'll be a very somber Oscar ceremony this year, for sure. I mean, absolutely. I mean, we got to see. And I mean, even the Critics' Choice Awards, if they do happen when they say they're going to happen, I can't even imagine how that's going to be. Scott Cross, my YouTube year recap says I watched the channel for over 150 hours, which doesn't include Down to Earth, looking to double it. Here, 25. Here's to the best show. That's very nice of you.
That's
Scott.
amazing.
That's very, very nice of you. A lot of great things coming up on the channel, by the way. We just put up our reaction to Iron Man 3. That was up on, and then we have Thor: The Dark World coming out on Friday, and I'm even going to drop either Saturday or Sunday. We just did we just watched Winter Soldier today. Sam and I watched it today, and we're going to put that up. She loved it. She absolutely loved it. That's still in my top 5 MCU.
That's
movies.
still
my
so
favorite
good.
Yeah.
Still my
It's your favorite?
Oh, hands down.
It's in my
It's
top 5.
definitely top 5. Yeah.
I watched recently Winter Soldier into Civil War just randomly because it was on some TV, and I was like, let me watch those both. Man, those MCU films back then were like, it was something special, man.
So good.
Watching that scene with Tony and Steve in Civil War when they're just talking about signing the Accords, it's like, they got to get back to that kind of thing, man.
Just revisiting this whole thing, it's been so much fun to do, especially with Sam, because she knows nothing. She didn't even know it was like Bucky was a Winter Soldier until that one.
Oh, that's pretty awesome.
It was pretty great. She had no idea.
That's
so like
pretty
her
awesome.
reaction
That's
is so
fun.
pure. Like when they reveal it, and then like she got duped a couple times in the movie, so it's a really fun one. That'll come out over the weekend. I am so torn because I was gonna go see Den of Thieves 2 tonight in the theater, in the screening that I have.
It's gotta be good.
But the problem is I haven't seen the first one, and I was planning on watching it.
Oh,
I
dude,
know.
you haven't seen the first one?
I was planning.
You'll love it.
I know. I was planning.
You'll love it, dude.
Go
watch it.
I know, but here's the problem. I was planning on watching it last night so I can then go see the second one. I can't see the second one without seeing the first one.
You can't.
I can't.
No.
So I might have to.
I didn't even know there was a second one coming.
Yeah, it's out now. All right. So thank you, Scott Cross.
Watch that one, man. It's great.
For those wonderful, kind words here too.
I'm gonna watch that today.
Crystal saying, "Let's beat Roka." Crystal's coming in high.
Okay.
Chris Greenier, thoughts on doing a donation stream to help the victims of the fires? Get everyone on, take a couple hours at a time as a marathon. I love the idea, very much so. And it's also a matter of, like, right now it's hard for me to reach out to everybody. Like, Roxy couldn't even do the show yesterday, right? I didn't even know if Mike and Steph are going to be able to do it today. I don't know if Coy and Winston are going to be able to do it tomorrow. So I think we need to have a couple conversations beforehand, though, and also want to see when they contain the fires and stuff too. But the idea is spectacular. And then
I'm in.
All right, Mike Joyce. I think everybody would be in. Not much love for Dune 2 this award season. Yes, because it came out in March and people are horrible.
Nah, that's not true. It just wasn't as.
So, we lost Mike.
Wait, you didn't do that. You did that. Okay, I was like, that timing would have been insane.
Just didn't catch on like everyone else thought, except the two of you who think it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. There we go.
That's not true. That's not true, Mike.
No,
and
not.
I don't think it wasn't my favorite movie of the year. It was my
wasn't?
It was my second favorite. I'm sorry.
Don't you do my old ass also?
No,
Oh,
no.
okay.
Wicked changed my life.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wicked, wow, Wicked over Dune 2. Steph, I don't even know you anymore.
I know.
Good for
I
you,
don't know
Steph.
me. I don't know me either, but I will say the Denis snub, you have to recognize that too.
Of course I do. Because I've said, it wasn't for me, but it's a masterfully made film.
Yes.
Okay.
Masterfully
Right.
made.
You just don't like good films. Okay, so
Shut
here
your
is
mouth.
Austin B. Whatever they choose with Batman, there's a chance things could go wrong, in my opinion. I just want them to choose something at this point. Also, I'm glad that you guys are safe. God bless. Thank you, Austin. Yeah, I agree that, well, it's weird, right? Because like they don't necessarily have to announce it yet because we don't even know when the hell their version is coming out. So it's tough to say, but I think it's because all the stories are out there. Like, just tell us something.
Yeah, I think the Matt Reeves filmmaking style also puts this in a very hard position.
Yes, it does, man.
It's just like
and Penguin being so awesome too.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, Crystal did a bunch of these stupid. She really wants to beat Roka here, so she's put
love
a
that.
ton
Love
of
that.
those. So I'm just gonna highlight all of them. I'm not gonna mention every time. Richard Okatura. Hey guys, Mike and Steph, I'm glad you're both safe. Yikes, the confusion. I think they should just shut down Pattinson's Batman universe entirely. What are your thoughts, Mike? Before you were rightfully ripped off of Twitter, you said the same thing, correct?
I just felt, I was like, at this point, I don't know. If there was not a DCU going on with James Gunn, I would have been a lot more like, hey, however long it's going to take, it's going to take. But now that they're trying to get this universe going, but I was clearly wrong because everyone told me that, and I wasn't a DC fan. So what do I know? I love the first one. I love the Penguin. Want to see more of them. I would love for them to continue making Pattinson films, however long they want to do them. Just keep it separate from what Gunn is doing.
Yeah. Well, we'll see if that's going to happen. Crystal with another one. And then we got Top Dog Rig. Reeves' Batverse is its own thing and a story that he wants to tell. Just make the DCU Thick Boy Batman its own thing. Stop with this confusing canon, please. Yeah, it's already confusing when it doesn't even have to be, right? But the thing is like we said, Steph, where we talked about like the rumors with Star Wars, and we're like, well, they announced this thing. We're like, well, they didn't really announce it. The trades announced it, and like no one from DC has announced anything. They've the only thing they've announced is that they were going to do Brave and the Bold.
Yeah, I don't feel any sort of backlash from, whiplash, from these announcements because I don't think that they've said anything.
No.
So it's really just like, I guess, people going back and forth of what they want, which I think there's fairness to both sides.
Yeah. So, yeah, like I said, it's an ever-evolving story. All right, more from Crystal. Thank you, Crystal. I think we got a lot of these from Crystal, who's trying to push you guys over the edge to beat Roka. Roka's always like the barometer of people trying to beat him. Joe for show, with Cynthia wanting to play Storm, do you see Ariana in the MCU outside of Dazzler? I thought Dazzler would have been perfect for her. But yeah, I could see that, but I think it's the same argument that we made beforehand. Depends on which character, because she's tiny.
Yeah, and also they had like a 10-second fight scene or like choreography where they're learning some sort of fight skill in Shiz land. And Ariana is like, I know she was playing a character, but to me she's like so cute and dainty, and like a punch wouldn't hurt from her. So it would really depend on the character. If it was like more like mental work and I don't know, like just mind games, then
right, something like that. Kalon, I like Josh Brolin or Alan Richardson for Batman. I like Brolin more so than Richardson. I think Richardson's too damn big.
Richardson, I don't think he's Batman, but Brolin was supposed to be it before Affleck.
Yeah,
And I remember when he was in the talks, I'm like, that is awesome.
Well, Richardson has expressed.
Yeah,
interest.
he's too big.
He's too big. He's way too big.
And I know he used to be smaller. I get that, but it's just if anything, what they should do is make it kind of meta and make him Aquaman.
I know.
That would be
awesome. But he's too big to play Aquaman too.
I know.
Crystal.
He's gotten himself into a point where
the Flash movie was so disappointing. The TV show was so much better. I know the Arrowverse gets trashed on, but Arrow and Flash were so good. Loved it. I remember watching a bunch of Flash stuff, and there was a lot of good moments for sure. But like those shows, you go on too long. There's only so long before it's like
it's
villain
just
of the week.
Too many episodes for those shows to be like Daredevil on Netflix, where you're like every episode is great. But I've always heard that the Flash series was good. There's just so many seasons. And it's just so hard to do because it becomes like that villain of the week type thing. Crystal D throwing in another one of those as you get to 67 thus far, Steph. 67, nice.
Not bad. All right, another one. She's definitely trying to push you guys over.
She doesn't like Roca.
I'm sure I haven't seen anything from PLD yet. Nothing from PLD yet. Dancing Dog 60. I knew T'Challa would eventually be back. Yes, we don't know. We know T'Challa will be back. We just don't know if it'll be his son T'Challa or actual T'Challa. We don't know. Armada, genius movie pitches. Jeff Snyder, coached by Booker T and Matt Serra, to box U-Bowl again at TIFF, directed by Zack Snyder. Have you guys ever seen that boxing match with U-Bowl beating up Jeff Snyder?
Yeah, I have.
What?
Yeah. So Jeff had said something about U-Bowl's movies or whatever it was, and U-Bowl challenged him to a boxing match. I think it might have actually been at TIFF, and Jeff, to his credit, took the fight, and U-Bowl knows how to box and Jeff doesn't, and it showed in the ring because U-Bowl beat the shit out of him.
What?
Yeah, you can find the footage on YouTube. It's out there. I talked about it before, but every time I bring this story up, I give Jeff. There are so many people that wouldn't even have considered it. Jeff got in there. He fought as hard as he could.
That's actually hysterical.
Yeah, he just did absolutely nothing. But yeah, it's out there. So people who didn't know that, now you do. Between the panels channel, who's your favorite guys? Batman and why? Christian Bale, hands down, is my favorite. I know Mike's gonna go Keaton, but Christian Bale to me was in the best Batman movies.
I agree.
Yeah. I go Keaton.
Yeah. And then DeWanda Wise for Storm, says Kaylin. I don't know.
That's the girl from the last Jurassic, right? I think so.
See.
I
think it is.
I feel bad because that's like not her fault that I feel.
She's the only one in that movie that I actually liked.
That movie.
I liked her in that movie.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not as familiar with her work, but she looks.
Yeah, I could see. I think that more than Cynthia Erivo.
She looks more like Storm to me than Cynthia Erivo does.
She's got in that movie. She's got the chops. You see kind of her handling that action stuff real well.
Yeah, I think, and I don't think you need, going back to what you asked for before with Matrix, I don't think you need superstar power with X-Men. I think you need up and comers. Crystal again, and then Lady Hotep. Please, no Cynthia for Storm. Not a Cynthia Erivo fan on that one. Top Dog. Top Dog Girl. I don't know how Top Dog. I always say this.
Girl.
Yeah, Girl. Unpopular opinion. I feel that making Creature Commandos the first DCU property was a bad move. I found it overly violent, immature, and didn't feel new and fresh like Superman trailer felt. Yeah, I don't agree, only because it was an animated series that I can guarantee you that most of the mainstream people didn't see and won't even know.
I finally caught up. I have one more episode left, and I loved it. But also, I wasn't watching it going, "Oh, this is the game changer to start with." Nah. It was just, It was like a nice. You go to the restaurant, and what do you got? You got mozzarella sticks. I like these. These are good. Yeah, it got me hungry for the meal. Let's eat.
That's right. That's
I agree completely.
Exactly right. Yeah, Mike, you're eating good.
God,
damn it! Bam. 86. Marvel is obsessed with casting stars, and that's not what they built their house on. Come on. Elf for the new MCU. Well, I
disagree.
No one was cast.
I disagree on that. Marvel's built on stars. Robert Downey Jr., Chris Evans, and Chris Hemsworth were not stars.
No. But he's talking about now. He's talking about now. He said they're obsessed with casting stars. He probably just forgot now because he said that's not what they built their house on.
Oh, okay, I got your saying.
I think he's agreeing with you.
Gotcha. My apologies.
Because now they're just trying to pop stars in there when they don't need to, and just build off of the characters.
Do you think they're doing that because they're trying to, like, back then they had nothing to lose,
right?
And they're like,
well, they're also trying to fit the best role for the character, and they didn't have the kind of budgets. They overpowered it. It's because they have too many. They have the budgets now that they can afford the big stars.
Gotcha.
Back then, they didn't have the budgets to afford the big stars. Now they do, and they overspend on it, and they continue. Like, who's hot? They're doing the same thing Kathleen Kennedy does. Who's hot right now? Put them in it.
Yeah,
and that's not how you do it. Armada. Wish Better Man was a Pearl Jam biopic, but oh well. It's a great song. Better Man and Nothing Man. Both really good. You guys Pearl Jam fans?
No.
I like the music.
Well, yeah, that's what being a fan would mean.
Shut your mouth.
Crystal, again, thank you. 74 thus far, guys. 74.
Nice.
With about 40 minutes.
Good shape.
40 minutes left to go. Real good shape. Any questions you guys want to ask, throw them in there. And here's one from Ewok. Not sure if you covered this, but they just announced Coleman Domingo has been cast as the game show host in The Running Man. I thought they already shot.
I thought they were finished filming that.
I thought they filmed it. It's coming out this year. He just
maybe he was cast and they are announcing it now.
Revealed it? He just got cast. I mean, the movie's coming out this year.
I thought you would have filmed that. Like, he's been filming that for months.
If he just got cast, then that movie ain't coming out this year. I'll tell you that.
Well, think about it. Okay, hold on. If you remember the original Richard Dawson's role, you could absolutely separate it from the rest of the film, like the action sequences, and a heavy portion of that movie is Dawson in a room by himself.
I know, but the movie's supposed to come out like she'd still need enough time to edit it and put
When's
it
it coming out? This summer?
November 2020.
Oh, you got time. Come on now.
To shoot.
I like
stuff?
Coleman Domingo. I like that.
Me too, but I think it's probably just one of those things where, in the same way that Jeremy Allen White already shot his stuff, I'm sure, because Mandalorian Grogu is done. Jim 1, Cynthia attacking Storm fan art could be a PR worry. True.
They dodged a bullet on that one.
Yeah, they got away from it quick. And she also came out and I guess addressed it too. But like that could have been a lot worse if she didn't double down. There are other people who double down all the time. She didn't double down. She stepped away from it, which is a smart move. Roman Fedorak. As far as DCO overall, I'm going with cautious optimism and a little hope and faith. Foolish for doing so. We shall see. No. Yeah, you got good leadership right now. It's just the question is, can they deliver? It's what if Superman stinks up the place though? You got problems. You got big problems.
Yeah, but I think it's gonna be great.
I love this choice. Shelf presence. Ana de Armas for Matrix reboot. Love that choice.
Yeah, she's awesome.
I'm excited with Ballerina.
That's why.
I saw that little it wasn't a trailer, but it was kind of like a behind the scenes trailer making.
Yeah. Have you seen the trailer though? The trailer's great.
I think I did.
Yeah, the trailer's great.
It's the one where she's fighting the guy at the flamethrower, right? At the end.
John Wick shows up, and it's in between 3 and 4 is when the movie takes place. Yeah. Mike Joyce, if Mike and Coy were on the same show, would their loud pets react to each other? Also, Patterson. I know we.
Wait a second. Coy's got a cat.
What?
Coy's got a cat, right?
He does. The cat.
How's it loud?
It makes noise. It does.
Really?
A cat?
It makes noise. Every time we're shooting it, it makes noise.
No.
That's hysterical. My cats are like essentially silent unless we're in a car.
Normally you don't have the cats making a lot of noise, but for some reason his cat likes to get involved. It's like Coy, just likes to talk. All right, next one is Kalen J. Stephan James should play T'Challa. He acted alongside Chadwick and he played Jesse Owens. He's perfect for the role. Now, Kalen, are you saying playing T'Challa his son or playing T'Challa recast? Either way, I guess would be interesting. But I just want a good actor. That's all I want. I want a good actor, and I want someone to make me believe that the mantle was passed or it's the same character. Crystal D fan, the dog has spoken. Clearly, the dog is a DC fan. Yeah,
in this house, he's a DC fan.
It would make sense. So even though the Twitter says otherwise, Mike. So Scott Cross, Black Panther casting is Robert Downey Jr. Tropic Thunder style.
Perfect.
Oh, you think? Well, right. If they did, well, yeah. Okay, so
that would be hysterical.
Let me retract.
Oh, Jesus.
If that was the case, if the idea was that the casting that's going to piss people off is that it was a white dude, then I guess I understand.
He's a variant.
Yeah.
Marvel
that would
isn't.
be insanity.
Oh God.
Crazy. Evil John Madden coming in. You never know what he's going to say. I know when you compliment a lady, you have to say stuff like you're smart and insightful. Maybe you're nice or funny, but for the love of God, Steph, you're gorgeous. Oh, look at that. Thank you,
Thank
John
you.
Madden. That's nice, John Madden.
Yeah, there's always room for that.
Yeah, what about Mike? No, Red. Look at Red Mike's getting. Crystal, let's defeat Roca, everyone. Hashtag beat Roca. Following.
Oh my goodness.
With that one.
You're funny, Crystal.
The BAM86. The problem is Marvel sucks at their black heroes. Chadwick's Black Panther was the only solid black hero in the MCU, and they killed him off. Well,
They didn't have a choice,
They
pal.
didn't have a chance and circumstances. So yeah, I don't necessarily know who. I mean, I liked Rhodey. The Rhodey was pretty great, and Falcon's pretty damn good too.
I get what he's saying. To me, it almost seems like they're the second fiddle to the main guy.
Okay.
And that's not by fault of the MCU. That's the way they were in the comics. But that's why we need a Blade. That's why we need a Black Panther. I get that. I understand that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, evil John Madden here, Steph. You could only asking because of statistics. Steph, when you get divorced, can I ask you out? No, you can't.
Oh well.
Yeah.
No divorce.
No divorce.
None for them.
Nope.
They can have croissant soon.
That's
right.
Christian Medard, aren't they going with young X-Men? Yeah, I think that they seem like that's the other the thing that they brought up in the report, right? If the Sadie Sink thing is correct, how old is Cynthia Erivo?
I think she's later 30s, like 37.
So she probably wouldn't fit in that area. If
I don't know. Between the shaved head and stuff, she looks kind of timeless.
Oh, and really black don't crack. Like the other actress we just brought up, I just looked her up. She's 40 from Jurassic.
Oh wow.
So yeah, to me it's like if you look young then.
Yeah,
I always like Storm to be older though.
I know what you mean.
Kind of like the matronly
totally
of the X-Men.
Yeah,
I like her older.
I understand that. Dancing Dog 60. Fictional characters have been recast for decades. Marvel just recast the character and carry on. It's not goddamn rocket science. It's been 5 years. Yeah, I mean, look, it depends on where they want to go with the story.
Right. I think it's mostly the script, not as much the character.
Yeah, I agreed. Elmo McElroy, love that name. Hello there. Have you guys heard anything about season 4 of Love, Death, and Robots? I don't know what that is. Netflix announced season 4 back in 2022, but they've said nothing since. Do you know what that is, Steph?
Yes, it's an anthology series similar to Black Mirror.
Oh, okay.
And it's like any time and place, anywhere in the galaxy, there's just little stories, and it's really good. I haven't heard anything about the next season either.
Okay. Next one is Big Busta, who says Marvel has the easiest out with recasting Black Panther due to them being knee-deep in the multiverse. If they don't use it in any way, that could be a major waste. Well, I think they're going to use it one of two ways. They're either going to use it with a variant of T'Challa himself. They're going to use it with a variant of T'Challa's son. Do you guys agree with that?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're bringing in a variant from somewhere else.
Yeah. Boom Toasted Gaming. Brandon Sklenar has the perfect look and vibe for Batman. I agree. I would tell you that I think that depending on age range, I like the Hartnett pick, but I like the Brandon Sklenar pick more and more.
That he hit it on the nail on the head there. To me, when we talk Richardson stuff, it's a vibe more than a look.
Yeah,
it's got to be a vibe. Like to me, Richardson would be Shazam.
Yeah, right.
Like he'd be
okay.
Shazam.
Yeah, he's got more of that vibe.
A great Shazam.
Yeah, I love the.
It's
Brandon
a vibe.
Sklenar
You've got to have this kind of this thing about you to be Batman.
Stephanie Litz, from the makers of Young Rock and Young Sheldon, comes Young T'Challa. Storm should be a relative unknown like Thor and Miss Marvel were. Glad you two are safe. Yeah, I agree with you. I think that right now, because especially after Wicked Part 2 comes out, she's going to be so massive that Mike, you and I talk about this all the time. Like to try to separate, you look up and go, oh, that's Cynthia Erivo. That's Elphaba playing Storm. At the time that they're going to be matching it up to. And there are a lot of other actors that have done it. Like, I mean, look, Downey was famous enough that people knew it was Robert Downey Jr., but he just fit that role so well. Nobody knew who Chris Hemsworth was, and Chris Evans was Johnny Storm, but those movies didn't do very well. So
I can't believe that Chris Evans and Chris Hemsworth, and now where they are.
Yeah, that was because they encapsulated the role, Yeah. So, but I kind of agree that I think that I'd like to see more of like more unknowns inside of the X-Men, maybe more like the up and comers. Crystal, FDW fan, so excited for the Winter Soldier reaction. It's one of the best ones. It's like she's on a roller coaster that entire time. She just like.
Did she go nuts for the elevator scene?
Yes, but she cried during the Fury scene. The Nick Fury scene, because she thought, like, for people who haven't seen it, I don't want to ruin it for them. But
come on, spoilers at this point.
I know, but still, she cried, she laughed, everything. It was everything. Gopal, do you have any pet peeves? Yeah, Mike. I get unreasonably angry when people misuse I as an object pronoun. You know what's so funny? My wife hates that too, Gopal. So my family and I's, they say that. People say that all the time, and my wife loses her mind. She hates it. And I will say, to give props to Cynthia Erivo, because they never do this. One of my jokes on stage is a pet peeve that I have about people saying, they say it all the time, I could care less. Well, then good. Go in the corner and go care less, and then come back when you can't. It's I can't. I could not care less. That's what. And Cynthia Erivo calls out Ariana Grande in the movie in Wicked for that. I was like, good for Elf. So yeah, like when they say X and I, where it should be X and me. Yes. So you guys any pet peeves?
I have so many. I can't like. Oh, here's one.
Go ahead.
When you're walking somewhere, like you're walking in like a mall or something, and there's a lot of walk straight. And then people just start veering, and you're behind them trying to get by them. And you're like,
worst.
God damn it, get out of the fucking way.
It's the worst. So
like, just like slowly start walking and veering, like, no, straight fucking line. Yeah, this is the worst. The worst.
Steph, what's funnier to you? That moment that you brought up in Austin Powers, or when the lady on the cart almost ran over Mike in Anaheim?
Oh my God. That was the funniest. No, that actually was one of the funniest moments of my life.
You and I both fell on the floor, right?
Yeah, I was like almost beat my pants.
We both fell on the floor laughing. Like I couldn't get up for a good 2 minutes.
No, Mike was like launched into the bush, right?
He went like. It's the absolute best, and the lady
she came tearing that wheelchair like a bat out of hell, man.
She didn't say excuse me. She didn't say get out of the way. She didn't acknowledge sorry. Nothing. She just kept like you weren't even there. It was the best. It was the best.
Oh my God, that was so funny.
Oh, it was the best. Crying.
I'm so glad you brought that up. I forgot about that.
I'll never forget about that.
Oh my God.
Live action here. No more animation, I say. It is not for everyone. It's just for kids, I say. Long live action, I say. Hoorah. Oh, you're asking for it.
Wait, you're just kidding though. I always see you talking about right.
No, that's someone else.
Okay.
That's someone who's mocking Fanimator. Nerds Engage, who comes in. We keep building up our memberships, and the reason why is because of this gentleman here. Nerds Engage puts another 5 memberships out there for people. Thank you so much. Crystal says, the MCU reactions remind me how MCU made great movies. Hope one day we'll get that quality again. Yeah, getting that comment a lot from people is the rewatch has brought them back to that place. Bobby, what's up, Bobby? Bobby ruined my day yesterday. Not on purpose. I kind of wonder if someone inside Marvel is leaking both ideas about Black Panther to see which idea fans are behind. Possible.
Totally.
Possible.
I would.
Either way, I'd like to see Aldous Hodge or his brother Edwin Hodge in the role. Good choices also. That happens all the time in the same way that we said before. You're floating these things out about ideas to see what the audience is up for. So, yeah, you guys think that's a possibility?
Yeah. I think a lot of studios do that.
Yeah. Okay, Chris Granier, if you do the donation stream, I'll help, but I'm only free on Sundays. Well, yeah, I mean, we'll see. We gotta talk to everybody about it for sure. Crystal, just throw in another one there, and then Haskell. Hey, where the ladies at? What? Hashtag number 69. Boing. That ain't Ed Haskell. Jim 1, thoughts, Mike, on the James Bond situation going on at Amazon? Oh yeah, Ooh. Mike, what are your thoughts?
Because Amazon being like studios, like we need spinoffs. Like, I'd like to see a Felix Leiter spinoff too, which could work. But if you don't have a franchise going, you got to focus on that. And Bond has always been a Bond, and I think the producers behind it are, it's always been a film. It's every couple of years we release one, and I could see the studio wanting more of it because they have the IP, but I think that's where the problem is. They're not Barbara Broccoli and Michael G. Wilson are like, no, it's a film. We're doing films.
I got to see what happens with that because it's been a mess. Also, Carver Tate, like Mike, I'm also a dog lover, and one of the funniest moments in the MCU for me is when Sean Gunn calls Cosmo a bad dog, and Cosmo spends the rest of the movie trying to win back his affection. It is.
It's so good. We talk about that scene all the time, and hilarious. I always am like, I actually relate to it because you don't want to be like, I get how the pressure a dog must feel to be like, this is what I need. I need to be known as a good dog.
Those are good moments. That Cosmo, Dancing Dog 60. MCU used to make stars. Now they cast stars. Lazy. I mean, it is true. That's what they've been doing more and more so. I'm telling you, it's because they have more money now. Exactly why they have more money. Instead of locking the stars that they had turned into stars into longer contracts, they're just trying to get big stars into it, which I think is a bad move. Top Dog RLG. Top Dog RLG. Also, hashtag suck it, Roca. Oh, poor Roca.
Gosh.
Well, we're at 87, so Roca's still in the lead. Nerds Engage. Live action is better than animation. Thoughts? You guys are just...
Oh, that's stupid.
just picking on the poor guy. Don't do that.
I love animation too.
Yeah, everybody does. Dancing Dog 60. Give Mike and Kristian some love too. Though Steph and Rox. Yeah, I mean, of course. Yeah, who wants to look at Mike and I when you can look at Roxy and Steph? Bobby Jackson. Fun fact: DeWanda Wise was originally cast as Maria Rambeau before Lashana Lynch. I didn't know that. Oh, that is it. Thank you.
Oh, did she leave that to go do Jurassic?
Maybe.
I think that's what the case was.
Maybe. Crystal throwing in another one. And then a big one here from Bad Coyote Funky. Thank you, Bad Coyote. Recasting of Black Panther should have happened before Black Panther 2. I think Feige was scared of the black audience's reaction, even though we've had Spider-Man, Batman, I'm Black, will be okay. Lots of us wanted a recast. I don't necessarily think that was the case, though. I understand where you could come to that conclusion, and I think that's fair, but I don't think that was the case. I don't think that Ryan Coogler wanted to go that route. I think he was very close with Chadwick Boseman. I think he had written a whole movie centered around Chadwick Boseman. They were shooting it. They had everything. And then I think it was Ryan Coogler saying, I can't do that. I can't do that. I can't write a movie with someone else in that role. I think
they needed to address it.
Sure.
And they spent the movie addressing it. And then,
yeah. I think it was more about that. I think they could have made that choice. I think it wouldn't have went over very well. I think it'll go over a lot better today than it would have went then.
Yeah.
So I respectfully disagree on that take because I think that Ryan Coogler was pretty clear that he wanted to pay homage and, as Mike said, address it. Roman Fedorak, as a fast walker, I feel you there, Mike.
I'm a very fast walker.
Yeah, it is.
That's why I love New York City.
It's great, but you get a
best
lot of people
walkers.
And I've been doing that a lot in the city. You know what drives me crazy is most people are on that same rhythm in the city, but sometimes a tourist or whatnot, they just stop in the middle of it, and it's like, what are you doing? What are you doing?
It's how it is in theme parks. And I have to give them some leeway because they are all like, I don't know what's going on, but I'm like, I know where I need to go, so I can move.
Cut it out. Yeah. Mirjam, my old ass clip out with Roxy made me laugh. And watching that, if I have a bad day, I thought about that when you guys just laughed about Mike. That was a really funny moment with Roxy and I. We've had a few of those. So I highly recommend it. It's on her Instagram.
I haven't seen that.
You've never seen that one before when she talked about
the clip. I haven't seen.
The clip what's that? That's stupid.
He's looking for the clip.
I hope that stops. Go Pal. How do you rank the Seattle Big Four? Nirvana, Soundgarden, AIC, and Pearl Jam distant last. Who's AIC? Do I know AIC?
Let me see.
Let's see.
I couldn't even tell you guys. I don't know.
Alice in Chains.
Alice in Chains. Oh my god. Okay, so if I was going to rank them, I would go. Oh man, it's a 1 and 2. I would go. Pearl Jam 1, Nirvana 2, Alice in Chains 3, Soundgarden 4.
You don't want my opinion on this. So.
Why?
I don't know these people very well.
Oh, well then.
I know Nirvana.
Oh, okay. So you put them number 1, 2, 3.
And then 4. Pearl Jam's like. Is that what they sound like?
Like they're taking a dump?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure. Support for Steph from RQMD SMD.
Nice. Shout out RQMD SMD.
Oops, Crystal coming in hot here. Okay, so we got a couple more. Oh, this is the last one for now. RQMD SMD, support for Mike. But that leaves us at 94, guys. 94. Just missing the mark here, but we got close. So
we needed 111.
110. Yeah, 111 to win. So thank you for both joining us here today. Let's get a quick plug from you, Mike. Where can they find you?
Well, you can't find me on Twitter for another week, so I'll see you next week on there.
And Steph?
At Steph Sabra on the World Girls.
Oh, we got a couple more here. So Gio, still a fan of Filoni's. I miss Sith Council. Sith Council just isn't. Star Wars is in peril right now, so there's really no reason to do it. But I will tell you that Filoni, not as a person, I've met and talked to Dave very many times. I think he's a really nice guy. I just think he's the wrong person to be running creative. So no, I'm not a fan of his creative stuff. Stephanie Litz, Nikki Globe set her Globe set a high bar for Conan's Oscars. Yeah, Nikki Glaser was great.
She's such a star, man. She is so fun to watch.
She was really, really great. All right, guys, thank you for joining us here today. For Mike and Steph, we appreciate you guys, and we'll see you on the flip side. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Check it.